Hi, my name is Chris Piasek, and around 12 years ago, I accidentally became an illustrator, and I've been winging it ever since. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 things that I wish I knew when I started out as an illustrator. So I say I accidentally became an illustrator because I never set out to be an illustrator. I always thought I wanted to be a designer, and that's what I went to school for, and that's what I was doing before I became an illustrator. I previously had a career as a graphic designer. Everything I knew about pricing projects came from my graphic design experience. And that's not really relevant. The way graphic design is priced is very different than illustration. When you're a graphic designer and you're making logos and things like that, you're giving all of you're making it and then handing it off to them, and it's theirs, they own it, they can do whatever they want with it. Illustration, however, is priced based on usage. So what that means is you're not giving, in most cases, I say in most cases because there are situations where you are giving away all your rights. But that's a whole other topic for another video. But in most cases, you are licensing the rights to use your artwork for a specific purpose. This is often referred to as value-based pricing. That doesn't really fully cover the full extent of it. So in value-based pricing, it just means that you're being paid based on the value that your illustration is provided. So for example, in editorial illustration, the budgets are lower than in advertising because the value they're getting from your illustration is much higher in advertising than it would be just for a standard editorial illustration in a magazine. In illustration, you're paid for every different usage of your artwork. So in advertising, this can make a huge astronomical difference in how much you're paid based on how they're using the artwork. Some of the different categories for usage include where it's being used, if it's just like in the Northeast of the United States, or if it's, across the whole country, or if it's worldwide. These things dramatically affect how much you'll be paid. Other things are how long they want to use the artwork for. This could be a year or 2 years, sometimes in perpetuity, meaning forever. There's also what they're doing with the artwork. So maybe they're running it in print advertisement, but then also on social media, and then also in outdoor, like on billboards or like bus signs, or in store, things like that. So all of these different things are different things you are being paid for. So if you don't know this and you just charge for your illustration, you're leaving an exponential amount of money on the table. To give an example of this, a recent project that I worked on that I can't name because 1, it hasn't come out yet, and 2, they probably wouldn't be psyched about me just like tossing out the numbers. There's a large beer company that I did some illustrations for that are being used on packaging as well as advertisements. Just the fees for the illustration work were about $7,000. However, all the different usages for that illustration, whether it's on packaging and all the different areas of advertisement, adds another $38,000 onto that budget. You need to know that illustration is priced based on usage. When I first started out, I had no idea, and I'm sure there were some projects that I definitely way undercharged on. The second thing I wish I knew was to always ask if there's a specific budget for a project. You may feel uncomfortable with it, but it's a very common thing, and it can save everyone a lot of time, and it can also give you a huge amount of information that may drastically, I think I said drastically a lot. This is very serious business we're talking about here, but it can really impact how you're pricing something. It's really nothing to feel weird or awkward about. It really can only go a couple ways. One is they say, no, we don't really have a budget in mind yet. We were hoping that you could provide an estimate. Or 2, they say, yes, this is what we were thinking. This is what we had in mind. Either that is a number that you were comfortable with, or you realize, oh, they are severely undervaluing how much illustration could cost, and this isn't a project I'm going to work on. And then you save all the time of putting together an estimate, thinking about the project, starting to like come up with ideas in your head and just letting it consume all that space in your brain, right off the bat, you know, oh, their budget is absurd. Another reason why this is something that I wish I had started doing earlier in my career as an illustrator is because the first time that I did it, I had already like put together an estimate, but I hadn't sent it yet. And I was like sort of worried that my estimate was too high. And I was like scared I was going to lose the project or something like that. So I said, oh, hey, I just wanted to see if you had a specific budget in mind so that I could sort of cater my estimate to that and, you know, make sure that I priced for whatever you needed. Or it was something awkward like that instead of just saying, hey, do you have a specific budget in mind? But anyway, I was stressed out because I had priced it at like $1,250. And they were like, oh yeah, we were thinking it'd probably be around 6,000 to 7,000. And I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds what I was actually, it's funny you say that because I was thinking 6,000, 7,000 too. That really was eye-opening to me and helped me to know that, hey, I should always ask just in case. It can't hurt. No one's ever been offended or gotten mad about it. Number 3 on my list, specify revisions. The larger point here is to like have a contract and use a contract, but that's a broad topic on its own. And I just want to dial in on this one specific thing that I did not do or even include when I started even using a contract. And it took me a long time to just fix this simple problem. When you are estimating a project and, you know, putting together a contract or, you know, anything like that, specify what is included in the process. So this could be as simple as this price includes 2 to 3 revisions in the sketch phase, and then 1 to 2 revisions during the comp phase. I have since made it a little tighter where I say 2 rounds of revisions in the sketch phase and then 1 round of adjustments in the final comp stage. I do that because I don't want them to be giving me like full on revisions once I've like tightened something up and got it to the like final illustration level. That's really annoying and takes a lot of time. I want them to focus on the sketch, even though it's not the final artwork, and tell me if they have different thoughts there. Having this in writing when they're a client that gives tons and tons of feedback, you can say, hey, at this point, we're past the agreed upon revisions that we have in the contract. So I'm going to have to charge you an additional fee to do more rounds of revisions. And then you could either estimate a flat fee and tell them how much it'll be to do another round of revisions, or you could do like an hourly rate based on those things. I think in my contracts, I have it set that like once we exceed the allotted revisions, anything else will be billed at $150 an hour or something like that. You should specify that too on your contract. But all of this, like letting them know how many revisions they get, super important. There were instances when I first started out where there was just like constant back and forth. And I was spending just an exorbitant amount of time on a project. And I felt like there was nothing I could do about it. So don't make that mistake. Specify how many revisions are included in a project. And then specify what happens if they exclude that. Like either they're executed or they just have to pay you a certain amount of money to finish. I also specify that after a certain amount of back and forth within the sketch phase, if we can't come to an agreement, then we will end the project and they will pay me a 50% kill fee to end things. As I'm saying all this stuff, there are so many tangents that my brain is like trying to run off to. And I'm realizing there's like 100 topics right here. So If you have any more specific questions or want to hear videos about specific things, let me know, because I'm realizing that each one of these things could be a video on their own. Oh, hey, are you still watching? Hey, can you just go ahead, take this hammer and just smash the living heck out of the like button. Really helps get this channel seen by some more people, and I really appreciate that. Maybe ring the bell. All right, back to the 5 things. Number 4 on the list of things that I wish I knew when I was starting out as an illustrator. This is a very simple one. It's not complicated at all, but boy howdy, did it save my life when I did it. So my first year as a freelancer, I got time to do taxes, and I'm a mess. I'm just going to be honest with you. I am not a savvy, organized business person. I cannot deal with paperwork. If you've seen any of my other videos, I guess even just from this video, you could probably tell that I have ADHD, and I cannot, like, paperwork and all that stuff is so hard for me. Like, the idea of documenting things feels borderline torture. I can't even, I'm getting like sweaty thinking about it. Can't do it. Anyway, my taxes that first year were a nightmare. I remember meeting with an accountant, and they were just like, what do you have? Like, what are you doing? Do you have anything? And he told me something that made my life so much better. He's like, listen, just go to the bank and open up a business account. And I was like, a business account? He's like, it's the same thing as a normal bank account. You're just opening another bank account. And I was like, okay. I'm like, does it matter if it's the same bank? He said, no, same bank is good. Just open up another account. Just say you want another checking account. And this is your business account. And I was like, okay, I like this. And he's like, now, anytime you get paid, deposit that money into that new business bank account, and only that account. Don't accidentally deposit into your other account. And then anytime you need to buy something for your business, whether that's computers, papers, Wacom Cintiq, iPad Pro, camera, books, research, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. Anything for my business. You pay for it with that same account. And now you know all of your business income, because it all went through that one account, and all of your expenses came out of that same account. So if you want to go even further, you could just get like QuickBooks Self-Employed, and you can just like link that bank account, and it'll just be like, and it'll just sort all that shit for you. And it'll just be like, here's all your information. Everything's done. You don't have to do anything. Business bank account. Do it right away. For even thinking about being an illustrator, just do that account. Can't hurt. Number 5 on the list of things that I wish I knew when I was starting out. Now, this one is something that I still struggle with. It has gotten a little bit easier, but this is a tricky one for me. This is going to sound basic and simple too, but here it is. You ready? Enjoy the slow times. And before you click away and be like, all right, okay, that's a stupid thing, whatever. Nearly every year, there's like a couple points where things just slow down, and I don't have many projects or any projects at all. Instead of just being like, whew, and enjoying it, because, there's some super busy times where I'm just like going nonstop, feeling super overwhelmed, being like, oh, I just need a little bit of a time to just decompress, blah, blah, blah. Well, those times happen naturally every year. And instead of enjoying it, I'm like, well, this is it. Career's over. Pack it in. I got to go find a job. I knew it was too good to be true. I knew I couldn't be an illustrator. What was I thinking of being an illustrator? I don't know how to draw. Do you remember me in figure drawing class? I was awful at it. I hated that. In high school, I tried to draw the apple. Katie and Amy's apples was so much better than mine. Mine looked like hot garbage. I shouldn't even be an artist. What am I doing? I went to school for graphic design. I'm not a real illustrator. And then I panic. I start like trying to sell things. I'm doing all kinds of things. I'm saying yes to projects that I should never say yes to, that aren't paying enough. And then all of a sudden, some big good projects come in, and then I'm just like, oh my God, I got all these crap projects, I got this good project, I got all this stuff, and I'm super busy again. And I'm like, this is crazy, blah, blah, blah. I wish I just had a few moments to decompress. Well, you had like 2 weeks. And what did you do? Trying to sell bikes on Craigslist. I have so many more things on this list of things that I wish that I knew when I was starting out as an illustrator. So I'm going to make another one of these videos. So make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss out on the next one. And while you're here, check out this other video that YouTube thinks that you should see. All right, good talk.